and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147. It is time for a WIP and Waffle, or WIP and Chat, where I work on my current diamond painting, which is the one that my decision wheel chose. It is from Oraloa. It translates to a fox woman. Is the translation that the website tells me anyway. But I will pop a link to it down below. It's rather good timing. I do have some more paintings coming from Oraloa that I will be unboxing over future weeks. So it's quite nice to be working on one. Remind myself, I have done one of their square paintings and absolutely loved it. So it's nice to be working on one of their rounds so that you guys can also see what their rounds are like. But I hope everybody is having an amazing day. I am filming this in an evening, so whether it ends up being a bit more of a... Some people find ones that I film in an evening a little bit different to ones I film during the day. Sometimes it is though I do still have pent-up energy from the day when I film on an evening. But we'll see how this one goes. I'm filming this Saturday evening because I've just made an appointment to nip out somewhere tomorrow morning. So I don't know how long that is going to take. I don't think it's going to be long, but I wouldn't want to be panicking about whether I'd get my WIP and Waffle done. So I thought, you know what? I was going to sit and diamond paint anyway, so let's just sit and diamond paint with you guys. Or stand and diamond paint in my case. And we'll see how far we get on this. This is my current one, so I'm not setting myself a goal of completing a certain amount. We're just going to diamond paint away and see how much I get done. There is some ABs in this one, so I am going to grab, see if I've got gazillions of these pens. Oh, that one's got a bit of a pointier tip. Let's use that one. This is one I've also put a sticker on the end that has the wax tip rather than the end that's just the pointy bit. So I know which lid to take off. I've only done it on one though. Go figure that one out. I've done it on one instead of doing that on them all. But I'm using the tray, and the orange pen is the one that is due to release this Friday. We have a peachy kind of release month this April. And speaking of release, some people may notice, or may have noticed though, as I'm filming this, it's not yet been mentioned. But I'm sure it potentially would have been picked up on. I filmed the launch video this morning with the items that I have ready for launch. So the stock items that were ready for launch, and of course the limited edition. And Megan did the social media post. She did it while I was out getting my nails done and my eyebrows done. And she posted 2 images of cover paper, the Zodiac cover paper and the Numbers cover paper, that we're going to, in my head, we're going to be releasing soon, but not necessarily this launch, because I want to get a certain amount of stock prepped before launch. But she included those pictures in the social media post. So you can thank Megan for those being released a little bit earlier. And I do apologise that they were not included in the launch video. We do have some other that's going to be stock sort of cover paper that will release a little bit later. We've been working on a few different things that are sort of going to be more of a generic stock available all the time. The number cover paper, I have actually been asking Megan to sort out the files for me and the listings and stuff for quite a while. So I suppose it is on me to sort of catch up after nagging her for a little bit. But yeah, basically the number cover paper works slightly different to the other cover papers. So for all the others, you get 16 sheets in a pack, and they're sort of the same design. They're all cut from like 2 full sheets that we print, but the numbers are different, and they will be slightly different between each pack, but you will receive 1 sheet of the number 1, 1 sheet of the number 2, etc. So for the numbers, you receive 15 sheets, numbered 1 to 15. And I wanted them especially ready for June Waffle. So I will be using them for June Waffle. I haven't yet, I think I've decided on which painting I'm going to do. I haven't yet worked out if I potentially want/need to cut the cover paper sheets down to be the right size so that I can cover a whole painting, and then sort of do it, of course, in a bit of a different order each time. But I did want, sorry, I'm going to turn my cardigan off because it's actually been rather spring-like today. Yeah, so the number cover paper, you can purchase numbers 1 to 15, 16 to 30, etc. We've gone all the way up to 90. So if people are able to or want to cover a whole painting with cover paper and then do a section for whichever number, maybe a decision wheel picks or in some sort of random number order, you've got the option to go all the way up to 90. We think that should cover pretty much all the needs of people. We hope. So I have put those up on the website now. I have made sure that they are there for you to see, and I will prep that stock this week. I'll just move it that I'll prep it a little bit sooner rather than prepping it after launch. So yeah, that's one of the things that's happened behind the scenes at Add More Zest today. I filmed the launch video, went out to do my nails, and then realised that Megan had announced more than what I had in the video. I don't actually have any in the house at the moment to show you, but I will, maybe I'll be able to show it in Thursday's WIP and Waffle, if I remember to grab some from the shop tomorrow. But while it has been quite spring-like today, as I've just said, it is currently 8 o'clock at night and raining and dark. So, oh, I've managed to pick some diamonds up with my finger and put them in the wrong place on the canvas. So yeah, I don't really want to go out in the rain and the dark to grab the cover paper. Quite a few of these ABs are stuck together, just like 2 of them stuck together. I am going to pop them in my little jar in a moment to give them a shake, but I'm just trying to grab any that are single diamonds first before I put all the ones that are together in the jar. I have a white one. I don't want that one. So we'll take the white one out, and then if you got our advent this year, last year, sorry, we have a little jar with a nut in there, and I'm going to tip in all those diamonds off the tray. They actually fit quite a lot in, so you can see they're all scattered around in there, and then give them a shake. Shouldn't need too much of a shake unless they're really, really stuck together. Most of those seem to have come apart So I'll give it a bit more of a shake just in case. You do need room to be able to shake. Excuse me. I've had a tickle. So they're the diamonds that I've just tipped out. And there might be a couple of stubborn ones, but most of them have come apart. So always handy to have. It's actually handy to do it when I'm in here as well, because it's tucked up on my desk. It's where I keep my jar so I don't lose it. So yeah, I think that's all the updates from over here. You will be able, because I have found a nail person after doing my own nails for a while, and then also having a period of time where I gave my nails a rest and didn't do anything to them. I have found a new nails person. She's very popular. We sort of have to book quite a bit in advance. So yeah, got to see her today, which was awesome. But I do have to wait 4 weeks for the next one, just due to her schedule. So we keep booking a couple of appointments in advance to make sure that we get our little spot. So yeah, you can play spot the video that I filmed last week when watching my videos this week, because I did decide to film one of them over Easter weekend in advance, because I was messing in my craft room, having a little potter and a tidy last weekend, after getting the rest of last week's videos filmed. And yeah, I decided to film a video after doing quite a bit of a sort out and a tidy up. I did make sure that I brought one of each pen into here from the shop, so that I have those to start using in my WIP and Waffles when it's not a launch weekend. One thing I will say that I've noticed about this orange pen, whether it's all of them or not, I'm not sure, but I have noticed it about my one, is if you are putting a metal tip in it, I've actually taken the little O-rings, the little tiny rings that go around the edge of the places. I've taken those off for it to fit in the pen, and then I did need to find a hard surface just to push the pen tip into. It's not as, I suppose, loose as it could be in some others, in other pens, but it does take one. It just needs a little bit of tweaking. So if you're not up for the tweaking, I'd rather you know now, before you get the pen. But yeah, take the O-rings off the metal tips. I just used a pair of tweezers, pretty turquoise tweezers, but I used a pair of tweezers just to take the O-rings off, and then made sure that I was pushing down on something hard, but not like soft. Like I wouldn't do it on my wooden floor in case it left a mark, but I'd do it on my kitchen tile type thing. I actually use the bottom of a plastic storage box, but I didn't want to have an imprint of the end of my metal tip from pushing down on it, just to get it to sit in the pen nicely. Okay, I think that is all the updates now. So let's go to comments, etc. from previous week's videos until I end up with something else popping into my head to update you all on. But Kim, she says this is the first time that she's seen a canvas that wasn't a cross stitch conversion marked with 10 by 10 squares. So that was my coffee hug in a mug that I will be dekitting this week. It was gridded in 10 by 10, and it's the first time from what I can remember ever having a canvas that has the 10 by 10 grids. She says, as I was placing the diamonds, Kim was thinking that it was weird, as she would need to place all the 7s in a square before moving onto the next square to place the 7. And I get that. There were some times when I was doing it off camera that I would go square by square, especially right at the beginning of working on the section of it, when the squares are a little bit more visible. I would do a 10 by 10, follow the squares to look for the numbers or letters, especially when it was very, very confetti, because it was a confetti heavy painting, that Hug in a Mug. But I do find that when I'm doing a WIP and Waffle, I can't quite concentrate on the individual squares in the same way as I could when I was just diamond painting on my own. And once more diamonds are placed, the squares become less obvious to me. And I actually have to look for them rather than knowing they're there. And I just realised I missed another AB. I forgot that 3 of them were sort of orange, red and burgundy. So let me grab my pen. Is that not the right? That's not the right black one. I want the one with the sticker on. These ones aren't stuck together. It's only the orange ones that are. But they do come apart easy. Blossom Chops, she says, the way to look at multi-placing is just another skill that I'm learning and adding to my arsenal. Yes, I have enjoyed doing some multi-placing on paintings. I've not done much on this one. I may have done a little bit, but only really sort of one colour when there was loads of it. Like this letter T on here, there's loads of the letter T and loads of them in long columns. So I may decide to multi-place that. But other than that, there's a lot of sort of, especially in this hair, a lot of the sort of rows, if you could call them rows, are actually going diagonally, which means you have to single place. So there's not been a huge amount of multi-placing on this painting. Just a little smidge every now and then. Right, put my AB pen back again. Put the lid on my pot would be handy. This is what happens when I have a later night diamond painting. I forget to do things while doing words. Kim also says, she says you just might need to de-kit some projects, she said, off camera. She said if it would help you. She said it sounds like you have plenty of videos planned and not enough time to get everything on film. She says you work on the canvases off camera, and she says we survive the forward leap. I like that. We survive it. She says she bets my zesties would be agreeable to you getting caught up with your backlog without the camera rolling. She said you keep us entertained regularly, and you need to cut yourself some slack by doing something for you rather than us for a change. Oh, bless you. Yeah, I suppose it does sound sometimes as though it's like, oh, I've got a backlog of kits that need de-kitting. And to a certain extent I do. But I have actually got rather good at it not bothering me that they're not all de-kitted, provided they are in my YouTube schedule to do at some point. I don't know whether it's just from doing YouTube for years, but I found that putting it in my schedule is as good as it being done. I don't know, that may not make sense to anybody that doesn't work in the same sort of way that I do. But there was many a time, you know, that I was doing 7 videos a week some weeks, and then I was doing a couple. Then there was a period where I was doing 7 videos every single week. But then when I didn't have something, you know, lined up to film, it then felt like I was scrambling to film stuff. And I think I've found my happier place. Now I do 5 videos a week on this channel, 6 if I have a shop launch. So I don't count the shop launch video in those 5. That ends up being a bonus video. Yeah, I seem to have found the happy place now that I do 5 a week. 2 of them are WIP and waffles. So that's sort of taken out of the, oh, what do I do area. 1 of them is an unboxing, and then I have 2 to do something else. So which, you know, could be a dekitting and a kitting up, or I could throw in something different like my logbook or my tray storage. I'm messing with the foam board and tray storage this week. So I throw in those sort of different ones every now and then. But yeah, while it may feel sometimes, and especially probably me saying it, that I have a lot to dekit, as long as they're in my YouTube schedule, it doesn't stress me out that they're not done. Because if I did, I know you guys would be happy with me going, I've just dekitted it off camera. But what I find is if I do that, or if I do multiple dekitting videos, say within a week, 1, my content isn't very varied. Which, while it might be a semi-productive weekend for me, just filming dekitting kits and nothing else, it then, you know, I then end up with maybe 3 or 4 of the same type of video the week after. So at the moment I actually have a couple of different things to unbox, and I know I've got something that's in the mail that will be here very soon to unbox. But I like to spread those out to 1 a week, because otherwise I just feel as though I do loads of unboxings in one stretch and then do none. So yeah, I actually quite like varying it up. I have found I'm dekitting coffee this week, but then I've got none to dekit and none to kit up, because this one's already been done. So my other video, I've thought of something different, which in turn is the foam board for my tray storage. But then next week, I don't have anything to dekit or kitting up. So I've got 2 videos to think of ideas for. And sometimes that actually can stress me out a little bit more. Because I don't have loads of time to put into YouTube, I dedicate a lot of time to filming YouTube and getting it edited and uploaded. But to then have the background time to think of ideas or spend longer putting those ideas into place, that's what I struggle with finding the time for. So anytime I can think of something different and throw something different in there, I do. But my bread and butter, should we say, is my sort of, you know, diamond painting process and journey as I go through each painting. So yeah, I do appreciate it, but do rest assured it's not stressing me out, as long as I put it in my YouTube schedule. That's why I've put the foam board for my spare storage in my YouTube schedule, because then I know it will get done. So as long as you guys are happy seeing it, I'm happy knowing that it's in my schedule, therefore it'll get done, therefore I don't have to think it's on my to-do list. Because, you know, I just need to do it the weekend it comes up for the following week's videos. I don't even know if that made sense anymore. Sometimes words come out my mouth at this time of night, but not necessarily in the right order. But yeah, I do appreciate the fact that, you know, you guys are more than happy for me to post whatever. And I do occasionally, you know, have a week off or something if something's gone on, or, you know, maybe if I'm ill one week and haven't been able to do as much as I'd like. Sometimes I do need to take that time, and you guys are always so good about when things like that happen. I know the time change that we've had has flummoxed a few people today. Our clocks did move forward last week, which has caused, of course, videos to show up on a different time zone for some of you. But rest assured, I always post it for 4 p.m. my time, UK time. So, yeah, if your clocks haven't changed yet or changed earlier than ours, you may have found that the time's gone out of sync a little bit. Kenzie says, good evening, Rebecca. She said their oldest son, his wife and 2 of their sons have just left after having a wonderful grilled chicken dinner with hubby and herself. That sounds amazing. She says her grandkids get a kick out of me saying, oh, hang on, I missed a sentence. She says she's now relaxing with me while finishing up her own gnome themed painting. She says her grandkids get a kick out of her saying that gnomes are her spirit animal. She says she's expecting the arrival of paint gem doors tomorrow, and she's very excited. That is a really, really nice set. I've just had Tuscany arrive yesterday. I have taken the box out the packaging, but I don't actually look at the paintings until I do the unboxing. So that is going to sit on my shelf for a week until I film that video and unbox it. But yeah, I'm excited for that one as well. She says they'll be her first squares, so she is really looking forward to seeing how different it is painting with squares rather than with rounds. So squares are slower. You do find it takes a bit to build your speed up, or at least I did with squares. But paint gem squares are really, really nice ones to sort of fit together how you'd expect them to. They are really nice ones for that. So you've made a good choice to start. She says she's finished 2 budget kits so far and has worked herself up to being comfortable with a 4-placer. She said anything larger than that, she says, makes her eyes cross. I think it's the mental counting to make sure that you can place the diamonds down. That's what it is for me. I'm happy with 4 at the moment. I'm going to stick with a 4-placer. I actually just restocked the 4-placers recently because they were getting low. They're one of the constant ones that I need to restock. But I got quite a few in last time, so I did actually drag a few in when I brought in some of each pen for using in WIP and Waffles. I was like, oh, let's just grab a few more 4-placers as well. So I've just been using this pink pen. Treated myself to a new 4-placer. I've been using that this week. Okay. She also says, her stash is only 2 other paintings beside the doors kit. So at this time, she says she has no use for a decision wheel, but she can completely understand, she says, the need for one. She says it's due to one of her symptoms, she says, of ADHD is executive dysfunction / analysis paralysis. Try saying that when it's late. She says she views the wheel no different as a tool. She says such as a light board, desk lamp or eyeglasses. She says that some people may need to enjoy their crafts and hobbies. She says her 2 mottos in life are pick your battles and be happy and let others be happy. I like those. She says sometimes she thinks others would probably benefit from those. She says, thank you for wonderful videos. You are a gem. Oh, bless you, Kenzie. Thank you. Yeah, I like the decision. I make enough decisions in life. I make enough decisions and have to think about decisions, and I can take long enough to make my mind up on stuff as it is. Quite often things will sort of mull over in my head, popping into my head every now and then, mulling over pros and cons before a final decision will be made. So letting the decision wheel take that one is an absolute dream to me. It means that I'm not stopping the flow as well. Though I do seem to be rather, my daughter says, my youngest, says that I'm rather good at helping her with her ADHD. She was diagnosed a couple of years ago. But yeah, she did. She hit, it's a wall I've not seen her hit in a long time. Because while she does hit the wall of, she knows she needs to be doing something, and then she beats herself up for not doing something, but just can't get going, which is very much a real thing. Yeah, normally, chatting or whatever, we'll chat and she'll get herself out of it, and we'll discuss a few different things she can do, and the next thing she's doing what it is she needs to do. But the other day, I've never quite seen her as much beating herself up over this essay that she'd already had an extension on and just had it all planned out. Everything was planned. All the information was there. It was just the writing of the essay, and she just hit a wall. And yeah, nothing was working. I could get her to laugh. I even contemplated setting up a hopscotch in the kitchen, on the kitchen tiles. But could this essay get written? Nope. So yeah, we ended up playing Gym Rummy, the card game, and if she won, she had to write 1 sentence, and if I won, it started off with 1 sentence, and then if I won again, it was 2 sentences, and it basically went up. So every time before we started playing, it would be like, okay, if I win this time, you have to write 4 sentences. And we'd play like that until her essay got written. But yeah, there are definitely many symptoms to ADHD, and many things that can help, and sometimes nothing in the world that can help. But I do like your mottos. I do like both of those. If it works for you and if it makes you happy and you're not hurting anybody else, then why not? Right, I've switched over to doing my other AB that I have in this painting. So there's an orange, 2 reds and a blue. But I do like to place ABs quite often. It doesn't always work this way, mainly if I forget. But when I do remember, I much prefer to place the ABs first. Because with the wax pens, you do need to be lighter than you are with an actual pen. With, one with a glue dot in or wax in or whatever else. So I like to place my ABs, and then if I need to push diamonds in the gaps like there, I'm using a different pen to do it. And I'm not going to damage my wax pen by trying to squeeze it in. Found one there. Is there any more? I have spotted an arrow that I missed, but it's on that side, so I'm trying to see if I can ignore it. Okay, I think I've got them all. They're very, very scattered, the letter A ones. Grey Legrand, she says she's hitting pause. She's put a googly eye emoji. She says she's just looked up the Titanic set. The Titanic Lego set. It is epic. She says she wonders how many hours that would take. Well, I don't have a specific example of it. Like, I haven't seen anybody who's created it and said how long it's taken and all the rest of it. But there is also a huge Star Wars Millennium Falcon. I actually saw a reel on it the other day. It got damaged in a move, so they actually took it all apart and rebuilt it. 45 hours, they said, for that one. So I imagine it would be about that, or possibly longer, the way I Lego. It would definitely take me quite a few days. Well, it would take me probably a couple of months, because I have started making my Lego last, should we say. Oh, I did miss one. There's one there. Okay, I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to see this glue. This metal tip is actually one that I've used before, so the glue dot isn't super sticky. So I'm just going to cheat for that AB. Yeah, so because of the price of Lego, and of course the space for storing Lego, it needs more room than a diamond painting does. So I've actually started, after I got quite a few sets for Christmas and I found I was enjoying building them and they were going down too fast, I started doing just one bag out of a set per day. One numbered bag, which is a lot easier with the new sets because you have a lot of numbered bags, rather than you having 6 bags that are numbered 1 and you have to open them all. Like some of the older sets, they will each be individually numbered. And I get all the bits out of the bag and I actually sort of line them up into the type of brick first. Sometimes it's a pile of the type of brick, it depends what brick it is, but I do group them into colours and styles before I then start building. So I can imagine if I did get the Titanic, and I don't have it at the moment, but if I did, then it would be something that I would spread out over a very long time to ensure that I got my money's worth. But it's not a cheap bad boy at all. She did say, but wow, that would be a blast to construct. It would be an absolute dream. I'd much prefer knowing somebody who wants the Titanic in Lego but doesn't want to build it. That would be my ideal. And I would just build it for them and hand it over. They'd buy it, I'd build it and hand it back. My friend has talked about wanting the Disney castle, but she doesn't want to build it. She doesn't like building it. So yeah, maybe if she ever buys that, I will quite happily build her the Disney castle and then hand it back over. But yeah, we shall see. Mysterious Day, she says it is her 3rd watch of this massive WIP and Waffle. So this was the Fox WIP and Waffle. She says she thinks she finally might be to the end of the video. The big WIP and Waffles do often give you time to spread them out, that's for sure. She says she is so close to finishing Magic Bus. She only has 4-ish sections left. She says, as a reward for consistently doing her schoolwork for 2 months straight, she bought a simple, modern, branded Stanley knockoff. She says, and she is in love. She says she's wanted one for a while. She said, and is someone with undiagnosed ADHD. She said that's a huge thing. That is. And undiagnosed to me as often can be as good as diagnosed. Getting diagnosed is taking so long at the moment. And I think so many people suffer with it without even knowing. And it can be very, very internal suffering. That, yeah, provided you have done your research enough, and, you know, there are tools out there that can help with the undiagnosed. And you just need to use those tools that can help until you can potentially get a diagnosis and maybe get medication if that's right for you. But yeah, she says she loves simple modern bottles and has been loyal to their brand since 2020. And she loves having a new type to switch to when she gets bored of her current bottle. Love it. Love it, love it. She says, second comment, she says, a pinch of salt reminded her of how it's funny we have different ways of saying things. She says, in America, we say a grain of salt / sand. She says she believes salt is more common, but she has heard people say a grain of sand before. It is. Things just change, and then there's phrases that people have. I know there's a couple of Australian sayings that Caris still says every now and then that just come to mind. I can't remember all of them. I know there are a couple that are absolutely awesome. I just need her to say them a few more times so that I remember them. But I know build a bridge, I think, is an Australian saying that my dad's very fond of. Which is basically, the full saying is build a bridge and get over it. But quite often it is shortened down to just build a bridge. And it's a very popular saying that he has at the moment. So, yeah, I love hearing phrases and sayings. So by all means, hit me up with different phrases and sayings. And maybe I'll adopt a few new ones. Marita, she says, hi Rebecca. She says, thank you for your videos. She says she's also going to blame me for making her fall into the paint gem rabbit hole. More than happy. I'll take that. Hold my hands up. She says they don't ship to her. She says so she did take advantage of the fact that her cousin has moved to the UK. She bought 4 kits and got them sent to him. And she also bought display books and labels from us and sent those to him as well. She said she cannot wait for him to come home for Easter and bring her a little haul so she can start. Absolutely love it. You'll have to send him home with some goodies from home. It's normally food that people miss, isn't it? I know there's certain types of food that my brother, sister and my parents all miss from the UK. Now they live in Australia. And yeah, I often, it's gone down a little bit. They seem to have adapted a little bit more. But I always often end up going to Australia with loads of food. I remember once me and may have been Catherine or Lewis went to Australia for our visit. And because there was 2 of us travelling, we did take 2 suitcases. However, it's always warmer there than it is here. So I don't need space for jumpers and all that sort of stuff. And I'm quite small, so I don't need, you know, a lot of space for clothes. I'm staying with family so I can wash clothes. And you get a really good baggage allowance because you're going so far to Australia. So we actually had one case with our clothes in it and one case that was literally full of crisps. So they wouldn't get crushed by anything else, by like our own clothes or shoes. It was just a case full of crisps. It was very, I think there may have been a couple of bars of chocolate, one of them as well being a fruit and nut, because I did get a funny look when I made sure that I declared it at the Australian border, because it had nuts in the chocolate. I made sure that I declared it, which they were fine with, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. And yeah, when I opened the case for them to check my fruit and nut chocolate bar, all they saw was crisps. So yeah, maybe you'll have to send him home with whatever his goodies are, his favourites. And then you can always make sure that he has room in his suitcase potentially every time he's visiting. You know, he'll have space for your goodies because you'll be able to fill up that space with things for him to take home. Because I used to take that and then the case would come back with all the things I bought while I was in Australia. Mainly Kaiser Craft. Often went to Kaiser Craft and got quite a bit there. Especially when I was scrapbooking. I'd always come back with a load of Kaiser stuff in my other suitcase. And use my weight allowance coming back. But you know, when you're on holiday, sometimes you've just got to shop a little bit more. Have you not? That's what I think anyway. So yeah, hopefully you will have them by now and be absolutely loving them. Sarah, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she also enjoys Lego and it was fun hearing my excitement for it. She said, would you be willing to show off your finished Lego kits in one of your videos sometime? She says she'd love to see them. Yeah, more than happy to do a video on my Lego collection. I'll show you hubby's as well. He's got quite a few more than me, but yeah, more than happy to show off my Lego collection. Maybe I'll pop that in my schedule one of the weeks that I sort of don't necessarily have a kitting up or a de-kitting. We'll do a little bit of a, this is the Lego sets that I have, a little bit of a different video. She says, do you have the show called Lego Masters in the UK? Not that I know of, though I don't watch much TV. So it is something I'd have to look for to see if we do, but I don't think so. She says it's been on for a few seasons, she said, over here in the US, and she's sure that I would enjoy it. I more than likely would. I would love sometimes to create some of these that people have created and done the instructions for. I think they call them mock Lego sets, sort of, you know, made up by purchasing the pieces. But I'm also, I think if I go down that rabbit hole, it could take over my life far too much. She says she would also love to live vicariously through me if I get that Lego Titanic set. Maybe. I don't even think I could put it down as a business expense. Do you think if I did a very short video I could put it down as a business expense? Who knows? Probably not. She says, since we're playing the blame game, she says, please feel free to blame me if you end up getting it. Love it. Sarah, your name is on my list. She says she'll gladly take the blame if we get to see that set completed. I love the fact that we are all so willing to take the blame for other people's purchases. It's great, and we get to take some of the guilt off by blaming somebody else for it. What could be more perfect? I nearly caved with a Dreamer Design set today that had come out. I can't remember the name of it. And the mock-up was really good, but a little bit too linear for me. It was a city scene. But I very nearly, I say caved. I'm not on a no-buy. I'm on a watch what I buy. So, but yeah, it may end up in my wish list, just in case something else falls into my basket. Because I do have a couple of paintings, both in my Diamond Art Club wish list and Dreamer Designs, that if I feel like I need to purchase, if there's one that I have to have, then quite often if I buy from them, it's worth me buying two, not just one, to get the benefit of the free shipping to the UK. So maybe that one will end up in my wish list. I like to have a little peruse if there's one I have to have. See if the urgency to have an item wears off while I'm having a look at what else I want to add with it. And if it doesn't wear off, then I check out. I check out and have them both. Michelle, she says Come From Away is one of her favourite Broadway shows. It is a really, really good one. She says she hopes me and the girls enjoyed it too and had a great time. We did, yes. It was an amazing show. And yeah, I just think it's really, really well written and really, really well done. Trudy, she says she's from the south near Portsmouth. She says, and they use the saying, lick and a promise. She says all of her family are from this area. So there we go. It's definitely spread across the country for sure. And maybe it's spreading more into other countries. Who knows if somebody else has adopted it. There are quite a few in other countries that do say it. Picked it up from grandparents and things. But I wonder if we've got a few more people that it might start popping into their heads. Jen, she says, hi Rebecca. She says the phrase her mum used when they were kids was the old spit and polish. Yes, gotta love a good spit and a polish. She says as kids we dreaded it as it meant someone was going to get a tissue to spit on to clean their faces. Yeah, spit and a polish was a cleaning up of a child's face more often than not. Lick and a promise is I'm going to give this house some sort of clean, or something a little clean but not a full proper clean. I love both those phrases. Mary Angela Rose, and then there's more. She says she's in the university too. She says specifically in the career called medical technology. She said which makes laboratories. She says also talking decision wheels. Sorry, I'm trying to find a symbol. She says she just has the she just has the money for one Anne-Marie Bon diamond painting from Dreamer Designs, and doesn't know which painting to choose. Yes, decision wheel will be good for that one. If you love them all and want them all eventually, then if there's not one that is about to expire or is low stock, then the decision wheel will be awesome. Because otherwise the decision's being made by the low stock or the fact that it's going to go. So yeah, if the company's not going to make the decision for you because of that, then you making the decision it's an ideal way. Oh, Trudy, she says she has over 100 kits. She says no idea how she would go about a decision wheel. She also says she would probably argue with the decision it made. I think with 100 kits, if you're capable of making a decision and more than happy to make a decision, then that is definitely a case of you do you and stick with what works. If you're finding it hard to make a decision and you have over 100 kits, which may indeed not be Trudy, it may be somebody else who's watching. I know there are plenty with that many in their stash, and more power to them. Then I would suggest breaking it down, either making your decision wheel a specific size or manufacturer, depending on if you only have one company's paintings and stacks of them, which I have seen for some companies. So it'd either be by company or by size or by artist, maybe, if you have artists that you particularly love. Then maybe you have a decision wheel that chooses what artists you work with. And then maybe have, so if you had, I don't know, say, let's use Anne-Marie Bond because it's been mentioned. So say you had 10 that were Anne-Marie Bond, 10 that was Hannah Lynn, and then 10 that were different ones. I know that's only 30, but I'm trying to shorten the example. Then maybe you have a decision wheel that chooses Anne-Marie Bond, Hannah Lynn, or random. And then if it picked random, then you'd have a wheel with just your singular artists on. If it picked Anne-Marie Bond, you'd have a wheel with your Anne-Marie Bond. I think that would definitely be sort of a double wheel kind of thing. I don't think I'd want to put even all of my paintings on one decision wheel, though that is an idea. That's popped in my head as something a little bit different. At the moment, I do the two. One to pick the type of painting, and then the second decision wheel picks what actual painting in that type I do. So, yeah, there are ways that you can make a stash of that size work if you want to. However, it would take quite a bit of time, or an amount of time to implement and to sort of input them all in so that you'd be ready to then spin the wheel. But I love that kind of stuff as well, which is why when I thought a decision wheel with all my paintings in, and I was like, that would be a bit much. And then I'm thinking, would be a bit much, but it would be fun to just spin a wheel and it could pick any size painting of any style of painting. We'll see if it pops back in my head again when I'm due to kit up a painting, then maybe I'd take the time to set one up. Otherwise, I do kind of like the drama of having two wheels to spin as well. Liz, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she's catching up on YouTube on Good Friday. Very wise way to spend your bank holiday. She says she received 2 Paint Gen mini kits yesterday. Doors and windows. She took advantage of their 15% off promotion. She says, and then she promptly went and took advantage of their 3 for 2 and bought National Parks 1, 2 and 3. Go girl, see? That's all you need, is just different reasons to go and buy different kits. I like it. She said she had to celebrate finishing the mystery edition. She said it's her excuse and she sticks to it. Perfectly valid excuse. And if nobody else believes you, then blame me. She says she's kitted up 3 kits to work on during April for various events. She's got Letting Go by Puffy Gator from Diamond Art Club, Tiger on the Rock by Dakota Ditweiler from Diamond Art Club, and Mouse in the House by Mendel Crafts from Diamond Art Studio UK. She says at least she can start letting go today, which she's working on while listening to me. She said Tiger on a Rock she can start so long as she has a 30 by 40 section left to do on the 1st when the event starts. She says, your canvas you're working on is so cute with the gnome. She says, have a lovely Easter break. Oh, thank you. I did. I really, really enjoyed Easter weekend. We had a few days of nice weather. I got to do a little bit of pottering, a little bit of work, a little bit of not. Yeah, it was sort of nice to, I suppose a lot of the time what I like about a pottering weekend is that nothing is set by a certain time. You know, there's not a certain time that some members of the house have to be out. There's not a certain time that other members of the house come back. You know, I don't have to have post ready for a certain time for the postie to pick it up. I just get to not have to look at the clock. And I like that. Anastasia, she says, people with an overworking or analytical mind, she says decision paralysis, she said, can be so frustrating. I definitely have that. Overworking, for sure. Over analytical sometimes as well, but definitely overworking. It's constantly thinking of things. She says using a wheel or some kind of random way, she says, to pick can help take away the worry about making the right choice. She says she doesn't use the wheel, but she does ask hubby to pick one. And if she likes it, she does it. And if not, she tells him to pick again. She says, but he knows my moods well. She says she hardly ever has to veto his pick. Very good. I like that. You know, if you've got somebody that can make, in effect, the decision for you, it's not a matter of it would be the wrong decision a lot of the time. Even with the decision wheel, it's not that it's made the wrong decision. It might not have made the same decision if I'd have spent hours deliberating over which one to do. But the decision wheel hasn't made the wrong decision. It's just made a different decision to me. But I'm more than happy to forfeit, you know, whether it's a right or wrong decision by the fact that I don't have to make that decision. It works for me. Right, I am going to leave it there. I know it's not as long a whip and waffle as some of mine have been, but it is late at night and it has been nearly an hour. I will do a longer one in the future, but this weekend is a busier weekend for me. We've had family visiting as well today, so I haven't had as much time as maybe I would on other weekends to film. So I'm going to leave this whip and waffle there. I'm going to tuck these underneath just so they've got something solid to stick to for when I next diamond paint, because she goes, I was hoping to get that last little bit in before my battery went, so I didn't have to take my camera down and change it and put it back up again and then take it down to take my memory card out. But anyway, it's late at night. Yeah, I am going to leave this being maybe not a huge long whip and waffle. I might have, depending on how things go tomorrow, I'm hoping I have a little bit more time for Thursday's whip and waffle. But if not, next week I think is a bit of a clearer weekend so far. But yeah, keep your comments, questions coming. I do still have some to read and some to catch up on. But that always means when I do have extra time, Rogue Diamond, when I do have extra time, you get an extra long whip and waffle. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.